Tonight, we have the first Belgian top-notch serial entrepreneur on stage. And damn, I have to admit, I really love serial entrepreneurs. What about you, Nova? Can you tell us a bit more about our next guest?
Our next speaker is nothing short of incredible. From his humble beginnings in a student dorm to building the third unicorn in Belgium. He raised more than 180 million euros in funding, hired more than 1,700 employees, and has more than 7 million users. He has everything it takes to succeed as an entrepreneur. He will take us along his entrepreneurial roller coaster, including all the highs and the lows. Please welcome Fabien Pinckaers, founder and CEO of Odoo.
Yeah, welcome, Fabien. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I just got to start by saying those numbers. I mean, 3,000 employees, 180 million in funding, 7 million users. I mean, that's unicorn status unlocked.
And it's just the beginning.
Just the beginning, okay. Because I was going to ask you, is this the moment when you're like, I can go to the Bahamas and then do nothing and sip cocktails for the rest of my life? But that's not your ambition, really. Yeah. All right. So before we dive into the roller coaster of Odoo, can you maybe tell us a bit more about what you guys do?
Yeah, Odoo it's a lot of things. First, it's my dream job. I love working for this company. It's so cool, good atmosphere, young people, changing the world, transforming mountain. As a product, it's mind-blowing. It's a suite of business apps to run all your business activities. From your website, your accounting, your CRM, whatever you need, we have a platform with open source products that you can install and run your business right away. And most of them are free and some of them are 20 euros. So it's super accessible for entrepreneurs. And it's unmatched to have all these features to run your business. And as a company, as you said, it's incredible. In just a few years, we went from 1 to 3,000 people. We have activities all around the world. 50% of the people are in Belgium. We have office in Buffalo, San Francisco, Hong Kong, Dubai, Mexico, and so on. And probably the fastest growth in Belgium, 5 times unicorn, 5 billion valuation around. It's still just the beginning. It's still 0.1% of the market. I mean, the market is so huge, it's all the companies, that we still a lot of things to do.
I feel such an entrepreneurial spark with you guys, and so amazing to see what you are going to do in the future. Now, I'm pretty curious to see with the people in the audience, who of you has already used Odoo as a platform? Let me see. Okay.
Not a lot. We still have a lot of things to do, as I said.
You can convince them tonight, right? Okay, now we got that covered. Let's go back to the very beginning. You as a student, were you already entrepreneurial? What were you like?
So I was a student in Polytechnique in IT, in UC Louvain, in Louvain-la-Neuve. And I started the business in my student room. Actually, I started a lot of business, and this one worked better than the others. And so I created a lot of things. I was the leader in the art market. I launched a shop with open source logos on T-shirts and things like that. It became super big, the leader in Europe. Then I sold it. I did a lot of things, and at some point, I noticed all the potential we have in making small and mid-sized companies work better. A lot of people were suffering from inefficiencies in these companies, so I refocused everything on management, business solution for small business, software for small businesses.
And yeah, you're a sole founder, so in the process of growing your company, did you seek any mentorship, coaching?
No, I read a lot. So I read 2 books per week at a time. Now I'm closer to 2 per month. I became lazy, but I read a lot. So I get a lot of information from a different thing. I didn't have any coach. I didn't have time for that. I was focusing on building, developing things, building new activities. So I didn't have any coach, but I get inspiration here and there from a lot of things.
Okay, but please tell me that you did visit a lot of network events.
I didn't do a lot of
it.
Okay. And you know, being a solo founder is actually very cool. I know a lot of stories about it's good to be 2 or 3. For me, part of the success of Odoo has been to be alone. I'm sure that if we would have been more, we have had a lot of difficulties. We have a lot of aggressive investor. We've had 7 years close to bankruptcy, where you really struggle. You have to fight. Whether investor want to put you out of the company.
And you have to make quick decisions.
And quick decision. And when you are alone, it's easier because you have the majority of the shares. So at least you have that is safe, the control of the company. You can take decision within a day. You can forget everything else. And for me, it has been part of the success. I'm not sure Odoo would have been here if we were.
But didn't you miss a sparring partner along the way?
Of course, I have a great team. So after I recruited people, friends, and colleagues. And I have a great team, and I'm surrounded with very smart people. So at the end, they play the same role as the founder. We work together. We have I would say, equal relationship in the company. But having the control of the board and everything simplifies a lot of things, especially when you get to hard time with investors.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting insights. So you've been working on Odoo since 2002, am I right? Or
yeah,
the predecessor?
That's my second company. So this company, I started it in 2002.
Yeah.
I had another one before, and I started to do management software when I was 13 years old.
Okay, so was it even legal to start a company at 30 years old?
Yeah, it was a non-profit organization, even though my goal was to do profit, but it was easier. And I get graduated in 2004. So things started to accelerate when I got graduated.
Yeah, because you had, of course, more time to focus on your business.
Yeah.
Because what was that like combining studying and your own business? Do you have maybe some tips for the student entrepreneurs in the audience?
But there were some phases. There were some phases where I was mostly drinking beers in the student bars, and the others where I was mostly working for clients, so depending on the months. I did both in the same time, but some years I was way more in the student activities, and others I was way more in the business.
And do you remember, like, the first time you had a big sale?
A big client?
Yeah, big client.
Maybe not the first, but one memorable moment is when I sold to Danone, you know, the big Danone company with yogurt. And at the time, the company was called Tiny ERP, because we were selling ERPs, fully integrated management software. And I went to the board and tried to sell Tiny ERP to Danone. At the end, they bought, so it worked.
Yeah, for the Dutch-speaking people, we're talking about Danone.
The Danone group. Yeah. And I remember someone there in the executive saying, why should we pay millions of euros for Tiny software? So I came back home and said, oh, we have to change the name. Yeah. And then we changed the name to Open ERP, because we were open source and we were doing ERP. And then people started to say, but ERP is complex. You know, it's like SAP, it's boring, it's expensive. And we were the exact opposite of that. So I came back, and also some people didn't like open source. In large companies, CIOs, sometimes open source at the time was not perceived as very positive. So I had to come back and change the name a second time.
Okay, yeah, that's funny. I also read about that. So yeah, having Tiny in your brand name doesn't work really well with clients.
And especially at the time, we were trying to open the United States. And in the United States, you have to be big. You cannot be tiny. Yeah. So it didn't work well.
Yeah, for the people who already know me, of course, I also have a company, and it's called Tiny Dreams. Okay. It's a fashion label for petite women. But for me, it resonates well with my clients.
Very well.
Yeah, yeah. So nice. Okay. Is there anything that you did and that didn't turn out right? So what were maybe your most memorable failures, and how did that also pivot you forward?
Yes. First, I do believe failures are not important. What matters is to do success, to do big step forward. And if in the process you do failure, it's okay. You can deal with it. We always find a way. Of course, I've had a lot of failures. I've had close to 7 years close to bankruptcy. We didn't raise a lot of money. We only raised 10 million euros. So we were always, we bootstrapped the company. I raised my first round where we were already 100 employees. So always constrained by the cash. Very hard. Sometimes I paid the salary the 10th of the next month or very late. So it's very, very hard. But this period made me learn a lot of things. If the company is so efficient today, so productive, so cash efficient, it's because of these hard times where we had to deal with it and be forced to operate in a constrained environment with low cash.
Okay. Now, if we go back to Odoo, when did you know I have the perfect product market fit?
It took me years.
Took you years. And how did you discover?
So I started as a service company. As a service company, I was developing management software. I was paid by the client to develop features for them. And I did that for years. And in 2010, we had a software that had so many features, everything the client asks. We are doing accounting, inventory, manufacturing, everything. But the software was ugly. It was ugly because we developed everything the client asked for. And so at the time we said, OK, we have to pivot on a software vendor model where we will stop selling services and we will give that to a partner network all around the world. They will do the service. We will sell maintenance contracts. Because we were fully open source, we couldn't sell licenses. We were selling maintenance, so support and upgrade and things like that. It worked. It allowed us to grow it. But after a year, the client said, stop paying the maintenance contract. They were like, oh, it works. Why should we pay? And they were paying to the partners and not to us. So we grew. We were at the time, I don't know, 500, 600 employees. And all the customers dropping from 1 and 200. So we had to pivot another time in the business model. And we did several tries like that, up to 5 years ago, when we switched to what we call an open core business model, where 80% of the source code is open source and 20% is for a fee. For instance, CRM, inventory, website builder, purchase, invoicing, all those things are open source. But accounting, Studio, which is a no-code platform, timesheets are for a fee. And now that we have this mixed, since we started to do that, it was the end of my cash issues, and the company exploded.
Okay, interesting. So message to everyone with their own business or starting their own business, play around with your business model, definitely with your revenue model. That can have a huge impact on the success of your business.
And I remember every night coming to my wife and saying, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. She was always repeating, but you are already the fastest growing company in Belgium. No, it doesn't work, we don't have cash. And really, seriously, for 10 years, every day I was thinking about the business model. But I never found it, and we only found it like 5 years ago.
OK. And yeah, when we're talking about money right now, so let's go to funding. How did you experience the journey to raise funding?
I think one of the best things I did is to not raise money, not too much.
Okay.
So the first round has been in 2010. We were already 100 employees.
Because of the valuation, or?
No, because it was my kind of things, focusing on building things rather than trying to waste a lot of time meeting investors and things like that. And because I did that, I still have the control of the company today. If I would have done early on, I would have lost 30% at the seed round and 30% at the Series E, B. And even with good valuation, I'm pretty sure I would have lost the control. And I'm pretty sure that if I would have lost the control, the company wouldn't be here today. Because I had to take very difficult decisions that only me can have done. And so I raised another time money in 2014 or 15 when we had to do the pivot in the business model. When we had this maintenance, when we had this system where customers were stopped paying and we delegate all the service to the partner, we had to stop all our service activities from one day to another. That was risky, so we raised money for the transition.
OK. And what funding sources did you use? Like venture capital investors? How is that division?
Oh, is that? Sorry?
The division between the sources that you used. What did you use the most? And did you also go to a bank or did crowdfunding or? Yeah,
most of we have been sourced by we got the funds by customer. Okay. We were selling to customer, getting the money, and sometimes to a point where we were selling contracts that were paying well upfront, but very bad margins, so we were losing money, running behind the next customer just to get the cash to pay employees. It's been the main source of financing for us. Okay.
And yeah, I mean, with such a hyper growth, I mean, from 1 employee to 3,000, that comes with a lot of digital governance struggles. I mean, how do you organize all this?
First, we have a very good tool. We use our own product to manage everything at Odoo.
Practice
so
what you preach,
everything is automated, super simple, from the recruitment, payroll, sales, marketing, everything is Odoo. And because of that, we are super efficient. So we start to develop the apps also for our needs, make them perfect so that it gets better for the clients too. After that, it's a lot of about the culture. You know, when you are alone, the culture is you, is how you interact with people. And then you grow, you get to 100 people. And then the culture starts to not be you anymore, but the team leaders. So the jobs change. Now your role is to be sure that the team leaders follow the culture. So we wrote books about the culture, about the things, so that they can follow. We started on training and creating an environment. And now that we grow, it's still the same thing. It's all about preserving the culture to be sure we keep executing at the same efficiency.
And how would you describe the culture of Odoo?
In a few words, it's... I know every company says that. We give a lot of autonomy to employees, a lot of responsibilities, and people evolve a lot. And everyone will tell you that, but we really do it. Like really, really, really do it. So the young people, they super high responsibilities. We're working on very complex projects worldwide with full responsibility on their own. So we really give a lot of responsibility so that people can evolve fast.
And it's clear from what you've been sharing that you have a lot of ambition still to come. So how do you envision Odoo within the next 5 years? What is on your checklist?
To predict the future, you have to understand the past. If you look at the past of the IT, it started with operating system, very technical. In the beginning, there were MS-DOS, Dr. DOS, Unix, Minix, lots of operating system. Then consolidation of the markets, only 2 are remaining: Linux, Windows, iOS. And then we get higher up in the user interface level, where you have the technical complexity plus the user interface. It started with the word processor, Works, WordPerfect, Lotus 123, and so on. Fast forward today, we only have Google Workspace, Google, and Microsoft Office. I do believe that management software is at the same stage that these were a few years ago, because it's more complex because of the business layer. We still are at a phase where there are plenty of factors on the market, lots of different software with differential politics, but we get to a point where they all start to consolidate. And I don't know when, maybe it's going to be in 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years, but one thing is sure, is that at the end there will be only 2 or 3 that will have the whole market.
So you plan on acquiring some companies?
Our goal for the future is just to survive.
Okay.
And one thing is sure, Odoo will be part of the 3. I don't know who will be the others, because I don't see who can be the others, but we will be.
And one final question for you. What tips would you give to the future and current entrepreneurs here in the room?
I think it's just do it. We can think a lot about things, ideas. At the end, it's only execution that matters. It's important to just do it, learn from what you do, experience, try something different. I did so many different things in different areas. Some worked, others didn't work, but I always learned something. And what made the success for Odoo is just we always move forward. We always, when you have an idea, we implement it. And I did that at the beginning, and I think it helped us to go faster than pretty much everybody. I already had 5 employees when I was a student. I was just running, moving forward. I didn't thought about all the things, developing software, recruiting people. I would just do it.
Yeah. And are you still looking for employees for Odoo?
Yes, this year we recruit 1,200 people, including 700 in Belgium, across IT, developers, sales, consultant, business analyst, and in developers we have plenty of things like artificial intelligence, security, JavaScript, mobile, plenty of things. Yeah, we grow a lot.
Yeah, and you also have a booth here at the Future Fair. So if you're interested in a career opportunity, or maybe also an internship at Odoo, definitely go check them out. Now, Fabien, I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. And what I remember from what you shared is to understand the future, we have to know the past. It was a really good one. To stay curious, stay ambitious, and yeah, the sky is the limit. And if you have entrepreneurial dreams, you can also explore them within a cool organization, such as Odoo, for example. So it's about entrepreneurship tonight, but entrepreneurship can come in many different forms. So also for us intrapreneurs tonight, go check the Future Fairs for more interesting opportunities. Can I ask a warm applause now for Fabien from Odoo? Thank you, Fabien.
Thank you.